Okay, this is the third and final tutorial. Unfortunately, I started this tutorial and went far, and in saving the script, unfortunately, I set up the control for stopping my video the same as saving scripts in Visual Studio, Control S. So I had to redo the tutorial all over again, but it doesn't matter. I'll go ahead and try and put it up again. So yes, if you haven't watched the previous two tutorials, go ahead and watch them so you know what we're doing. So in this final video, we're supposed to show you how we've already created the videos, the animations. The what remains is to hook up the button so that when you click on each button, it controls each of the pages. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to create a new folder here and call it sorry, not animations, scripts. Okay, and hit OK, and then inside my scripts folder I'll create a new script, and it's going to be a C# script. Okay, sorry if there's anyone that knows GD script, can go ahead and do that tutorial for convert the script to GD script for them. Okay, I'm going to call it let's call it UI controller.cs. So the name you give the file is going to be the same as the name of the class. So I'll go ahead and create, and then I'll go into scripts and drag that UI controller.cs and put it on my panel. Okay, I'm going to put the script on top of the panel. Okay, then finally I'm going to double click on UI script to open up the script in Visual Studio. Okay, so this is our script. I'll just dock it to the right, and what we have now is okay, so the three things we need a reference to are the three pages we're going to be controlling. Okay, we need the three pages that we want to control. However, we don't want a reference to just the page itself. Okay, because this is the animation player object that controls. Remember, the animation resides inside this animation player. Okay, so it's a reference to the animation player that we want in our code, so that we don't even need to be touching the anchor left and anchor right of page one panel. We'll just tell the animation player to play us the animation we want. Okay, so the references we need are 1, 2, 3, the three animation players. By the way, I went ahead and changed the name of this final that's the footer animation player. I changed it to footer animation player. We'll see why I changed the name later in this tutorial while we're going ahead. Okay, so we need those three references. So we're going to say it's going to be, sorry, an animation player, and the three references are we need page 1, page 2, and finally the footer. Remember, we could have also called this page 1 animation player, page 2 animation player, and footer animation player, because that is actually what they are. Okay, it's the references to those objects. Then next, there are three different ways you can grab references of your nodes into your script, so that you can write code to control them. Okay, now the three different ways, I'm going to show you the three different ways. It's a good thing we have three different objects that we need references to. So for each of the objects, we're going to use one different method of creating the reference. And among the three different methods, there's one that is that I recommend. Okay, there's a reason for it, and we'll see why. Okay, so for the first method, we need to first export In Unity, it's usually called serialized field attribute but for Godot, it's called export attribute. So you export and you say a node path, and then we'll call it page one node path. Page one node path. Okay. Now, if we go ahead and save this, even though I've changed the control for my video recorder to F1, I still I'm still taking precautions to avoid any surprises. Okay, so I went on and saved the file. Now, if I come to the to my node and I hit on this page one panel, which is sorry, and I hit on the panel, which is where our inspector is. So okay, it's a good thing we're already seeing this page one path here. Now, if you did not build your it's because I've already built my code. Okay, that's why we're seeing it. If you did not build the what do you call it, the project or the scene, yeah, the project, if you did not build the project, you're not going to get this page one path. I don't know if I can let me see if I can change something here. Let's say page one node path, let's call it page one node control S, and let's go back to, so are we still seeing it? Okay, we're still seeing it, but you can see it's not actually showing the right name. It's supposed to be page one node node path. Sorry, page one node. Is it page one node or page one path? Yeah, it's supposed to be page one node, but it's showing page one path. This is because I think this for the last time I built it, I had this. That's why it's still showing there. So anyway, whenever you make changes in your code, you have to come over here and click on build. Okay, just to show you a sample, let me create another one. Okay, so let's say I want to export node path, another path. Now if I go ahead and Control S and save and come back here, you can see it's not showing. Okay, I can only see the first one, I can't see the second one. Even the first one is not the correct name it's given it. Is because this is showing what was last built, so I have to come over here and click on build. Okay, so whenever you do that, you can see now it's not showing the correct thing, page one node and another path. Okay, I just wanted you to know that. So whenever you make changes, you have to build your project for you to see the changes in Godot. So I'm going to save this, come back here and hit on build, so we get, okay, so that's what we want. Then next I'm going to hit on assign and then choose what I want to assign it to. Remember we said is the this animation player we want to assign it to. So I hit OK and I go back to my code. Now we're not yet done. This has only gotten the a link to the node path. We need to resolve it. Remember we want a reference to page one, so we need to resolve it here. We need to resolve the node path, and to do that we're going to say page one is equal to get node, and we need to pass in the node path, which is page one node path. Okay, and put a semicolon. Okay, now there's an error because I'll show you why. I'll tell you why the error is coming up. Anyway, this page one node path is this particular reference we just created here that we exported. Okay, now the reason it's giving us an error is because this is an animation player, and this get node method returns a node. So we need to convert what it returns as animation player. Okay, and that makes the error goes away. So with this now we have a reference to our page one. Next, this is one method of doing it. Now I would have preferred this method because it's the closest to what I usually do in Unity, with the exception of resolving the path name. However, because of the building, every time you make changes in your code, you have to rebuild and reassign. It's not, I don't think that's something I would enjoy using. Okay, so because of that, I don't like this method. So for the second variable, the page two, I'll show you the second way. That's the second method of grabbing the reference. Okay, so to do that, we're going to say page two is equal to get node, and then in brackets we're just going to do a direct we're going to put the direct path to that particular node path. Now because the script is on panel, okay, now you will assume that's the path to your object that you're trying to get a reference to is going to start from that particular panel node. Okay, so inside panel we have page two panel, so we're going to write page two panel and then a forward slash, and then inside page two panel resides our animation player. Let me just get rid of that. We resides our animation player that we want to get a reference of. So we're going to say slash animation player. Okay, also we have to say as animation player. Okay, so that takes care of that. So this is the second method of grabbing the reference to a particular object. Now the reason I also don't recommend this is because imagine now the script is on panel, right, and your animation player is this. Imagine if you sometimes maybe during your reorganization you drag this animation player out of page two panel and you parent it to say footer panel. Immediately you do that, there's going to be a break in this referencing. Okay, it's going to lead to an error. It will not be able to get the node. Okay, so because of that, whenever you make changes in the hierarchy of your object, it's going to affect it's going to cause an error. So that's not going to be a good method of grabbing references. So finally, the third method, which I prefer, is you will say, sorry, it's not page three, it's footer. We called it footer is equal to get node. Now before we even write the code, let's come back here. You will right click on the footer. Remember, it was called animation player before, but I changed the name to footer animation player, and I told you I'll tell you why. Now if you right click on it, you choose this access as unique name and you click on it, you'll see a percentage sign will show at the just beside it there. Now the reason I changed it is because now instead of using a node path, we can get the node and use the name of the object as it is written in the hierarchy. Okay, so it's called footer animation player. Also, you're going to precede it with a percent sign. Okay, so we're going to put a percent sign first, then footer animation player. However, we also need to say as animation player. Now I still haven't explained why I changed the name. The reason I changed the name is, imagine if I left the name as animation player, it's going to be colliding with this name. So if by chance I change this to also say access as unique name, there's going to be a name clash. I haven't tried it, but I believe there's going to be a name clash, and you might not get you might not be referencing the correct object. So for that reason, I just decided to make the name completely different. Okay, so with this, we've created our three references to, and these are the three methods, and I actually prefer this method because irrespective, now even if you change the ordering of your, or the structure of your hierarchy of the object, it's still going to find this this link is still going to be correct. Okay, so because of that, I prefer this third and final method. So anyway, next we're going to create the three different events that can happen. So we can either click the middle button, this sliding footer, we can click the page 1 button, and we can click the page 2 button. So we're going to say for this, for the three different events, we're going to create three different methods. Public void for the first one, we're going to say toggle footer, okay, and then for the second one, it's going to be public void toggle page 1, and then for the third event is, if we click on page 2 button, we're going to say public void toggle page 2. Okay, then also, now when we click on this sliding footer panel, we're supposed to check, we're supposed to keep a state of the page, of the, sorry, not the page, of the footer panel, okay, to know that is it outside. If it is outside our viewing window, then we should slide it in, okay, and if it is inside, we should slide it out. So to do that, we're going to need three, not just for that, we also need the same states for page 1 and page 2. So we're going to need three Boolean variables. We're going to say bool is footer in. So this is going to be, and by default, we're going to set it as false. That means it's going to start from outside. Bool is page 1 in. We're also going to set it as false, and bool is page 2 in. We're going to set it as false by default. So so when we say toggle footer, it should first check if is footer in. So this means if this evaluates to true, it means what we call it, the footer panel is inside, is already within the view, so it should slide it out. Okay, so we should say footer dot play. Remember, this footer is our footer animation player. Footer dot play. Remember, we have all the animation clips in there, and we named it out to left. Okay, so remember, for the footer there were only two animations. In fact, let's go ahead and click that. There's in from left and out to left. Those are the only two animations there. Okay, so make sure you are giving it, and also you have to write it exactly as it is. So out is O with a capital letter, T with a capital letter, L with a capital letter, and then else. So otherwise, if it is outside, it should do footer dot play in from left. Okay, so we're going to save that, and okay, we're not yet done. Before it exits the method, it should invert the state of the footer panel. So we're going to say is footer in equals not is footer in. So if it was inside before, after toggling it, it's going to set it as it is outside. Okay, so the rest of the code is exactly very similar to this. It's just the variables that will change. So we'll just go ahead and copy that, paste here. This is going to be for page 1 is page 1 in, and we're going to say page 1 dot page 1. Remember, this page 1, we've already created the reference, is for this particular animation player, page 1 animation player, and for page 2 is going to be referencing page 2 animation player. So it's going to be page 1 out to left, and this is going to be page 1.play in from left. Okay, and then also here we're going to be toggling is page 1 in, sorry, this is capital P, is page 1 in, and is not is equal to not is page 1 in. Okay, we're going to do Control S to save that. The final one, we have to be careful here, because remember, for the page 2 we're going to be sliding it in from the right and sliding it out to the right. So first of all, let's just change this first, out to right, and change this in from right. Okay, also remember that the page 1 and page 2 has 4 different animation clips. They have all the in from left, in from right, out to left, and out to right. Okay, so it's only the footer animation player that had only 2 animation clips. Okay, so after that we need to change this to is page 2, is page 2 in, and this is going to be page 2 dot play, and this will be page 2 dot play, and this is going to be is page 2 in is equal to not is page 2 in. Okay, so when you code this, just make sure you are writing the names of your variables exactly as you set them at the beginning. Okay, so I'm going to do Control S to save that, and then we'll go back to our scene. And now what we need to do is we've created the methods. So if you look at the code, these are the 3 different methods to handle the 3 different events. Whenever the middle button is clicked, it should just call this method. Okay, whenever page 1 is clicked, it should call this method, and if page 2 button is clicked, it should call this method. So we just want to link those button clicks to these 3 events. So we go to the scene. We first select the button, the first button, which is this one. There's the middle one. We go to the inspector panel. Make sure you click on the node. Okay, and then double click on pressed signal. Okay, you're going to choose panel. The reason we're choosing panel is because our script, the methods, all the methods that we want to link to, they belong on a script which is attached on the panel. Okay, so that's why we're selecting panel. And then for the name of the method, we're going to call it, remember we called it toggle footer. Toggle footer. Okay, let's just go to this, take a peek at the code and make sure that's the correct thing. Yes, toggle footer, that's the name of the method. So remember, make sure you are not putting the curly brackets. Okay, the brackets for the method, just the name of the method, and click on connect. So that connects that, and to tell you that it has connected, you'll see a little sign here with the with a little icon of like a radio transmission, which lets you know that the button signal is connected. Also, if you come to the signals tab, you'll see that toggle footer is a method that is connected to pressed. Okay, so we do the same for page 2 button. Where's the button? Okay, it's here. This is the page 1. This is the page 1 button. Click on it, go to the signals, double click on pressed, and choose panel again. And then here it's going to be toggle page 1, toggle page 1, and hit connect. Okay, and then you go for button 2, the same signal panel, double click on pressed, select panel, go to toggle page 2. Okay, hit connect. Okay, did we do the correct thing here? Did we toggle page 1? Okay, that's correct. Okay, finally, now we're done. We've already done our connections. what remains now is what I want to set is, sometimes if we hit play, you will see that some of the no main scene. Oh, okay, we did not select this as the main scene, so we right click on scene 1 and choose set as main scene. Okay, now if we hit play, you will see that exactly this is what I'm talking about. So like this is correct, the panel is outside, but the page 2 is already showing in our viewport, and that's not what we want. We want at the beginning that both pages should be away, this should also be away. Okay, so to do that, let's just rectify our animations. So for animation player 1, it needs to have a reset. Okay, this was already automatically created for us. It has a reset animation clip, so we need to create that reset for both the remaining 2 animation players. So we go to animation player 2 and we choose here. Okay, we click on animation, click new, and we're going to call it reset with caps. Reset, click OK. We're going to make it 0.01. Okay, because we don't want it long. It's just, we just need just enough clip to put a keyframe on it. Okay, so it's going to be 0.01, and then we'll just go back to in from left. We're going to copy. The reason I'm coming here to copy the tracks is I don't want to create the tracks from beginning again. So I'll just copy tracks, choose the 2, hit copy, go back to your reset, click on reset, then go to edit, choose paste tracks. Now we're going to delete this second keyframes, delete them. We just need the first keyframes. Now in the first keyframes, make sure your panel, okay, if you set it at 0.01, it will automatically be in that first frame. Okay, so you now click on your page 2 panel. Remember, we are rectifying animation player 1, animation player for the page 2 panel. The one for the page 1 panel already has a reset clip. So you click on page 2, go to the inspector tab, and then let's go to our anchor points. So it's supposed to start from this for page 2. It's supposed to start from 1. Okay, it's supposed to start from 1, the left. You select 1, hit enter, click on this keyframe key button to make sure a keyframe is set, and then for the right is going to be 2. Hit on enter, click on that keyframe. So this is our reset animation. Okay, this is our reset animation clip for the animation player 2. Okay, then we'll have to do the same for footer animation player also. If we check, it doesn't have a reset, so we go to animation, new, choose reset. You type in reset in caps, hit OK. Now we'll just repeat the step we did for, we're just going to copy and paste the animation tracks. Let's see, do we have paste? Okay, we already have tracks there. So make sure you delete this. Okay, also change the animation duration to 0.01. Okay, and then finally we need to make sure the positions are correct. So we go to footer panel, come down here to the left anchor, you make sure it's on -1, hit enter, click on this key, create new track for property, anchor left, and insert key. I thought there's already a track for it, so just hit cancel. Let's try that again. Okay, I don't know why it's asking me to. Oh, okay. The reason is because those tracks we copied are for page 2 panel. You can see the track is for page 2 panel. So please just go ahead and delete this. Okay, we don't need a track for page 2 panel. Please do not copy those tracks. That's the previous step. In fact, just delete that track. Make sure we are setting the correct track. So you we've done that for this keyframe. You hit on this right keyframe and make sure it's on 0, hit enter, and click on this keyframe and choose create. Okay, so it has created the keyframe. Rather than copying those keyframes, just create the new keyframes, because the animation we want to reset is not for page 2 panel, it's for the footer panel. Okay, so after that, I think this is done. If we go to this animation player and we hit play on the reset, it will make sure it is on the correct position. We go to this one, hit play, it will make sure it is on the correct position. Go to the first one also, hit play, it will make sure it is on the correct position. Now let's test out our application and see if it's correct. Okay, so you see that rectifies out our the app. So now this is how it's supposed to be. This is the first button. If you click on it, you can see that this slides in. If you click on page 1, it slides in. Click on it again, it slides out. Click on page 2, it slides in. Click on it, it slides out. Click this, that slides out. Okay, so you can go ahead and save the project or save the scene. Project, scene, save all scenes. This is the end of this tutorial. I hope you have learned something new. As I suggested in the previous video, you probably want to be watching the tutorials at twice the speed, okay? Because I notice I'm kind of slow in going through the tutorials. Anyway, I'm going to stop here. I hope I didn't miss anything. If you run into any issues, just let me know in the comment section. Okay.